What is up, guys, and welcome back. Here we are in the January of 1943 turn for the US and KMT. Starting off here with tech, we've got the same as last turn: armor, mechs, artillery, I don't know why I said that wrong, rockets, radar, and factories. So it looks like we've only got one here, which is a 9 for armor. So second turn in a row, we get armor and nothing else. But that does mean that we get to finish our heavy armor here, which is good news because I got some, before this game started, I got some new heavy armor sculpts for the US that I've been wanting to use. And now I can, so we're going to switch these out for a heavy armor. That's a Sherman. I think it's a Sherman Firefly or something like that. And then, so we're going to have, for our purchases, well, before I say the purchases, I'm going to say that I'm switching focus here a little bit. So in case you guys haven't noticed, this game is over. It's been decided. And, you know, up until Moscow fell for the first time, I really did think the Allies had a good shot of pulling this one off. I've been keeping track of the victory points, and we actually had a pretty good shot. But now that the Germans only have one front against the U.S., it's going to be impossible to get into Europe. So the game is over. So I'm going to switch focus here. I'm going to buy the Minorities at War scheme, which I haven't bought up until now because I still thought we had a chance to pull it off, because it's objectively a bad deal. I pay $15 to get, so I pay $15 and then I get to roll one dice every turn, and I have a 50% chance to get one unique unit. So it's much worse than the Russian and the German expansions, so I haven't bought it up until now, but we've got, we're just playing for fun now. So I'm going to buy the expansion. I'm going to send a jet fighter to the Russians. I'm going to send a jet fighter to the FEC, artillery to the KMT, a heavy armor and a mech, 4 infantry, a heavy strap bomber, and we're going to send $3 to the Brazilians. For the KMT over here, we're going to buy a minor factory for, 8? We're going to send an infantry to the FEC. We're going to send or buy an infantry, and that is our 14 for the KMT. So there's that, and now it's our combat moves, and then we'll roll for Brazil. The expansion roll happens at the end of my turn, so before we collect income, I'll do that, and we'll see if anything happens. Okay, so this is a bad angle. We've got a couple for the KMT here in China. We're going to send 2 infantry from Hope into Suyuan with a plain old fighter. So he's coming 1, 2, 3. He's going to have 1 movement capacity left over afterwards. And then we're sending 6 infantry and 4 militia from Szechuan into Shinsi, along with an artillery, a mountain infantry, and an infantry from Hope. And then our 2 jet fighters will each move 2 spaces to Shinsi as well and have 2 movement slots left after the fight. Oh, and this cavalry from Hunan is also coming in through Szechuan into Shinsi. And down there defending, he has 8 militia and infantry and 2 artillery. And then over here in the Pacific for the U.S., okay, so this transport right here is going to use this naval port at Formosa, come down to Philippines, pick up an infantry, back up to Formosa, pick up another infantry, and then into, I believe this is Season 54, and drop 2 infantry into Korea for a walk-on. And this transport that was already in 54 is going to come down 1 to Formosa, pick up an infantry, and then move 2 more spaces up to 38, and we're going to amphibiously land in Primorsky Krai up here. Coming along with him is going to be this tack bomber. 1, 2, 3. He's going to have 2 movement slots left over. And then these 2 battleships are going to come off of blockade duty one battleship is going to come off of blockade duty and shore bombard there. I was initially going to send 2 infantry in there, but I don't think it's worth it because he's probably going to die. So I'd rather lose 1 infantry than 2. So that's why I had the 2 battleships set up like that. So only 1 battleship is going to bombard. And we'll see if that works. So I'm also going to adjust my escorts here. We're going to have 3 destroyers come out to 56 to escort. Like so. From Nanking. Okay, and that should be good. So those are our combat moves in the Pacific. We've got 1 over here in the Atlantic. And as I mentioned, we've got no shot to ever break into mainland Europe. That ship has sailed. All he's got to do is drop like 6 jet fighters and we're completely locked out. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to keep on banging our heads against Spain here. Because I got nothing better to do. We're going to amphibiously land in Portugal, which I guess isn't technically Spain, but it's all the Iberian Peninsula, so I'm sure they wouldn't like to be generalized like that, but we are. So we're dropping 6 infantry into Portugal. We're bringing 2 jet fighters into that combat as well. And then we're going to bring 2 light cruisers to shore bombard there, both at 1. Okay. And that is our combat here in the Atlantic. So since we're over here, let's just roll this. We will set our, let's see if we can fit our dice tray right in here. We can, okay. We'll put you right here. Excellent, okay. So let's roll for Brazil first. Let's see if lightning can strike twice. We actually went big baller and dropped $3 on it this time instead of 2. Ooh, and a 4. Okay. So now let's do this combat. We've got 2 shore bombards, both at 1. And they both miss. And Portugal doesn't have any terrain, so we're going to roll our 6 infantry all at 2. And we get no hits there. And then we've got 2 jet fighters at an 8, and they both miss. Okay, good start. So now we're going to roll our 3 Italian infantry, and they all miss. So that was a really, really good first round here. So we're going to roll 6 more infantry. I see 2 hits there, 2 out of the 3 that we need, and then we'll roll our 2 jet fighters. And we have 1 more hit there. So all 3 Italian units are dead. And now we will roll their responses here. And they all miss. Okay. So Portugal will fall. I'm going to guess that he takes it back this turn. Even though it doesn't look like he has a lot in the area, he can spare to lose some planes taking this thing back. So I think the Germans are going to take it back on their next turn with some paratroopers or something. Because if not, it'll be the next turn that Portugal goes back. But we'll see. We'll see. I guess that's a non-combat. I shouldn't do that right now. Okay, so the U.S. goes up to 68. Italy falls 1. And now let's bring our dice tray over to the Pacific. So let's do the walk-on first. Oops. So Korea will go to the U.S. This is not Chinese home country. So the U.S. will claim it. And the Japanese will go down 2. And then let's do this one up here. We've got 1 battleship with a shore bombardment. At a 4 or less. And he misses. We've got an infantry to 1. He misses, and we've got attack bomber to 7. There's a hit. Okay, so the mountain infantry will at least be eliminated. And we'll see if he kills my infantry. And that is a 4. That's a hit. So we will knock each other out here in Vladivostok. And my plane will retreat. Okay. So there's that one. Now we've got the 2 fights inside of China. Up here in Suiwon, we've got 2 infantry and a fighter versus an infantry. So we'll roll my 2 infantry and a fighter. The infantry are at 1, the fighter's at a 6. And we do have a hit here on the fighter, that's a 3. And now his infantry will respond with a 4. And it will miss with a 9. Okay, so Suiwon will fall to the KMT. And now for this big one, I've got it set up on the battle board just behind us. Okay, so our forces here, we have 7 infantry, 4 militia all at 1, artillery at 2, a cavalry at 2, mountain infantry boosted to a 3, and 2 jet fighters. And then he's got 8 militia, 2 artillery, and infantry defending. So starting off here, let's roll the first strikes. We've got 2 CCP artillery at a 3 and a KMT artillery at a 2. So we've got 1 hit from each side. The CCP will remove a militia, as will the KMT. Okay, and now the KMT have 7 infantry and 3 militia, all running into the mountains at a 1. So we'll roll 10 dice here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, all at a 1. And I see no hits there. Okay. We will have a cavalry at 2. And that is also a miss. We'll have a mountain infantry boosted to a 3. He will miss. And now we've got our 2 fighters both at 8. And I see a 7 and a 6 there. So 2 hits on this first round of combat for the KMT. 2. And the CCP will respond with 7 militia, all at 2. I see 1 hit there. We'll lose a militia for the KMT. And then 2 artillery, both at 3. Those both miss. And then an infantry at a 4. And he will miss as well. Okay. So to update our numbers, the KMT now have 7 infantry and 2 militia, as well as our other guys, an artillery, a cavalry, a mountain, and 2 jet fighters. And the CCP are down to 5 militia, 2 artillery, and an infantry. So the KMT will roll their 9 ones. Holy cow, I see 3 hits there. Huh. How about that? That's it's brutal for the CCP. I'm sorry. So we'll take 3 CCP militia off. We'll just scoop these off to the side, and we'll roll our 2 2s, a cavalry and an artillery. Okay, 2 more hits. Yeah, wow, I'm kind of at a loss for words for that one. That's pretty bad. And then we've got a mountain infantry at 3 and 2 jet fighters, both at 8. And that is 2 hits. So that is a total of 7 hits against the CCP. That's really, really tough for them. I kind of feel bad about that one. If only any of this mattered in the scheme of the game. So now we've got 5 militia, all at 2. 1 hit there, we'll take off a militia. 2 artillery, both at 3. And an infantry at a 4. Okay, so 1 hit there for the CCP. Updating our forces now. The CCP lost 7 last turn, so they are down to 1 infantry remaining. And the KMT have 7 infantry, a militia, artillery, cavalry, mounted infantry, and 2 jet fighters. So I'm just going to roll the 2 jet fighters first. And there we have a hit on a 7, which will wrap this fight up. And that infantry will respond with a 10. So Shinsi has fallen. It's been a tough game for the Comintern. And that is not an indictment on PK. It's just one of those games. I'm not sure what he could have done differently. It's just been a really tough game all around. So we will take all these CCP units out. We'll put the KMT marker down in there. We'll also remove this CCP infantry. Okay, so moving into Shinsi, we have we lost 3 militia in the fight. Okay, so we've got a militia, 7 infantry, a cavalry, artillery, and a mountain infantry all in Shinsi there. And that will conclude our combat moves. Sorry, I'm having some issues over here with my unit. Okay, and now for non-combats, this plane has 1 move left. He's going to have to fly back to Hope. These 2 jet fighters will also fly back to Hope as a little bit of an escort. We're going to have 1 infantry move in here from Shantung. We're going to have a cavalry from Nanking move into Hope as well. 1. Ooh, you guys can't see that. So infantry from Shantung went into Hope, and then cavalry from Nanking went into Hope. Now we're going to have infantry from Hunan into Shantung, as well as 3 mountain infantry and 3 artillery from Nanking into Shantung. Rolling back down to India, we're going to have 1 infantry move up, and then 1 infantry railed into Burma. Okay. Now for U.S. non-combats. Okay, this escort carrier is going to come into 1, 2, 3, into 56. Little hit soaker. This tack bomber is going to come out and land on the fleet carrier. And that's all well and good. We don't care about this transport anymore. I only have 2 infantry in the area that can even be carried, so we only need 1. He can go ahead and die. Let's rotate, and these 4 destroyers from the west coast are going to move 4 spaces into the Bonin Islands area. Okay. Now let's mosey on over to the Atlantic, where we've got some adjustments to do. 2 coastal subs are going to come into, this is C-Zone 48, as well as a fleet sub. He's got a pretty good chance of killing this Navy if he wants to. But what can you do? We're going to 1, 2, 3 and move an extra destroyer out there as well. And that's going to be it for that Navy. Good luck to them. And then this Navy down here is going to scooch into 30. That's 4 destroyers, 2 transports, and an attack transport. We are also going to move a regular transport down here as well from 21. We're going to move a medium bomber from Labrador, 1, 2, 3, 4, into the Azores. So we're going to move how are we going to do this? We're going to leave 1 jet fighter in New York so we can scramble in case those subs decide to do anything funny. And then we're going to bring 1 fighter, 1, 2, 3, 4 out to the Azores. And then 2 jet fighters are going to get railed to the west coast. So before we do that, let me make sure that we have nothing else over here. You know what? I changed my mind. We're going to actually put a jet fighter into the Azores as well. And we're going to rail 1 jet fighter to the west coast. Okay. Jet fighter railed into San Fran. And now let's place our units. We've got a heavy strat bomber going into San Fran. And that's that. Here in China, we've got an infantry going into Hope. We've got minor factory going into Yunnan. We are going to deliver our Lend-Lease infantry to Burma. Now, I'm pretty sure now that the KMT is a major power, they have separate Lend-Lease from the U.S. They get their own strategic naval move, so I imagine that their Lend-Lease is separate as well. So I'm going to Lend-Lease that infantry to the FEC. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just build a KMT infantry in Yunnan. It's fine. But I think that's legal. And then the U.S. is going to deliver a jet fighter here into Burma through this major port. This KMT artillery is going to be delivered through the Shantung port. Okay, and everything else is going to be on the east coast. So we are going to place heavy armor and mech into New York, as well as 3 infantry, all at that major factory. And then the last infantry will go into New England up here. Okay, and then the Russian jet fighter is going to start in New York and come along this northern route into Kola. So I don't think Hambone has any subs up there. If you do, you can roll that interdiction roll on your turn. That's all well and good. I might have messed something up. It's a very strong possibility, but if not, that's how we're going to do it. And if you do have a sub up there, you can roll that on your turn, Hambone. Okay. Last thing for us to do is try to roll for our minorities at war. So let's do that now. So we need a 6 or less. If we get a 6 or less, then I get to draw a random upgraded unit from a little baggie. And that's a 12. So $15 well spent, guys. $15 well spent. Now let's, I forgot to update the incomes from the combats over here. So we took 3 off of the CCP and we took 3 off of the, did we? No, we only took Korea. We took 2 off of the Japanese. And then we've got 16 and 70. Okay. Let's roll for some wartime income. And that's a 3. Okay. You can't see that one down here. Here, let me move the camera before I touch it. It's 1. I don't know why I would lie about that, but yeah, that's definitely 1. So let's see here. Looking at our little income area. We've got our 75 plus 7 in captured territories is what, 82 plus 3 is 85. So we'll knock the US down to 85 here. And then the KMT is now at 16 plus 1 is going to be a total of 17 for next turn. Okay, guys. Check out Handbone for July 43, and I will see you next time. Love you guys.